All right, so what we're going to look at is more of in-game play rather than deck construction or things like that. I do apologize for that background noise. It's a space heater. My office is in the garage and it's 31 degrees outside, so it's cool in here too. So I'm just trying to stay warm. Let's take a look at the deck. We're going to look at Crazy Thursday, which was the British Bomber ramp deck from OCC Quals that was in the winner's top three decks. So let's look at the curve, right? You'll notice a cadence: 1, 3, 5, 7, right? So typically on a lot of decks, when you curve out, it's wanting to go quote credit efficient, which is fine for aggro decks. People throw the term credit efficient around, which often implies playing cards for the sake of playing cards because the credit is available. But you're not looking at the cadence of the deck, right? Does this deck really want to play a turn one play? No, we'll get into that later. But ultimately, the cadence is 1, 3, 5, 7, or 7 plus, right? So we're going to look at, you want to look at quality of credit versus just random credit. Hopefully we'll get to see that with production order. But ultimately, before you even sit down and play the game, you're looking at credit maximization in your opening hand and what you're mulliganing and not mulliganing. So even at what you're holding in your hand, or you deciding to mulligan, is employment of credit maximization because you're sculpting the hand, right? So we know from this deck, we're not going to spend a lot of time on the deck itself. Ultimately, it wants war production in the opener because you're trying to ramp out, play defense in the early stages, and deploy late game threats. In my opinion, it's better to play the late game threats coming over the top on an empty board. It's not always going to happen. We know that how 16 units, two of the orders produce units, so 18 essentially. A lot of orders. So we don't want a unit like a bomber fighting a bunch of units on board. But again, the cadence of 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, we're not really concerned about one. So a 3, 5, 7 cadence is pretty typical in card games. But let's go ahead and we're going to play the bot because there's times I'm going to want to be talking and not the opponent wouldn't give me the amount of time I might want to try to explain something. But we start with credit maximization on a hand sculpt, hoping to get war production. If we don't have it, we'll try to mulligan into it. We have production order, we'll keep it. War machine, we don't really have any defense, right? We have no way to draw cards. We have way to ramp, but no way to draw. This we're not playing on turn one, which we'll talk about. So it's questionable, right? A lot of people just snap keep Glamour Boys. I think I will here. It's against the bot playing. It could be self-damage. It could be tokens. It could be a lot of things. I really want to see supply shortage or supply priorities. We're going to definitely ship back ASW Patrol. Double Glamour. Should keep us in the game. Now, why aren't we playing production order on turn one? Production order gives us options. So we're not going to spend essentially a generic credit and make a decision between B24D or B24J. We're going to spend a quality credit. When we spend that credit, that one credit in the later turns, we're spending it when we have more information. So there's no way for me to determine what the board state is or the game state is on turn 7, 10, 12, and so on. So we're going to have a quality credit versus just spending generic credit, passing the turn. Goal right now is to ramp. Of course, we get the card we put back. So We always want to be focused on doing what the deck is designed to do, which is to ramp into bigger threats, and looking at lines of play and what are our outs, what are the best draws that we can have. Convoy is probably the best draw that we could get right now because we want more cards to do things, and we're going to need defensive orders. So again, we could have spent a generic credit essentially, but we're not. We want to play a quality credit. Is there any reason at all for me to play Glamour Boys right now? I've got 6 credits, but why? Why would I expose that to a hammer and an anti-tank gun? I'm not under pressure. It's minimal damage. So we're just going to draw cards to line up what we want. So now we know we have board clearing. When we go to cast Monsoon Rot and a supply priority, that's going to be 7 credits, right? So let's just say you had more units on board and there was a total of 4 credits. If we spend 7 credits to wipe out 4 credits, we're trading below parity. So to be at parity, if he had 7 credits worth of units on the board and we spent 7 credits, that's trading at parity. We want to trade above parity. So when we spend these 7 credits, we want to wipe out more credits than 7. That's trading above parity. Trading below parity is suboptimal. We don't want to look at things bifurcated where it's absolute yes, no, right, wrong. You're looking at play optimization, a more refined decision-making process. There's nothing for us to do now. We're just going to hold cards and go. Artillery kind of sucks. 6 credits on board. We're still trading below parity. Now what we could do, we could spend 7 and hope to take out the bigger unit, but we're gaining 3 credits, so we're not going to do that right now. We're playing the smoke screen unit, passing the turn. Now we're getting to the point. It's 4 and 4 is 8, and 2 is 10. So we're at 7 credits to take out 10. So we're trading above parity. The higher we trade up, the better. We could play Glamour Boys, gain some life, but again, it's no point in doing that. Hitting for another, that's possible, but we don't want to take 7 damage now. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and play this and take out his back line. Still not spending this production order because we don't know what we really want to choose. Unfortunately, the bot's not playing a lot of units, so we want to be drawing cards and furthering the game plan, which we can't do yet because we don't have our finishers or anything like that. That guard is of no threat. Sincerely Yours is fantastic. We have 9 total credits. But do we really want to play Sincerely Yours and Sexton this guard? Or would we rather Sexton something else? Do we want to ASW Patrol right now? We certainly don't want to play this. Let's just draw cards. We might be wasting credits here in a second. I mean, what's the point of playing Glamour Boys and exposing it to a hammer or something else? Right? There's nothing for me to do right now that would maximize it and not expose myself. Playing Glamour Boys exposes a problem. Sexton to pin a guard is bad value. You can look at that as trading up too. So if we pin a unit, we want to pin something greater than 5. Devil's Brigade just moves to the front, but it can't do anything. So we're just going to pass. Is it credit efficient? It's not credit efficient, but it's quality credit value maximization. Now we can get to the point, because he's going to bring his tank down, that we want to start playing some more defense. So it's going to be Glamour Boy. Do we want to play Sexton? He's got to do, that's going to do A damage. His tank is going to do something. So it buys us a turn. Just don't want to do anything yet. Credit efficient? No. Value maximization? Yeah. So is it credit management? Yeah. They're going to disappear, but I don't want to waste 5 credits for nothing. Look at a critical hit, right? That sucks. But are we really in danger? No, not really. I don't even want to play supply shortage yet. What I want to do is try to take out some units. I don't even want to play ASW Patrol yet. We're getting close to wanting to play it. I don't want to pin anything down. But a Glamour Boys will work. Spending 2. I've still not played Production Order. I want to choose 24D. But what if I'm in a position, what if I spent that credit earlier in the game and wish I had the credit back? Now pinning that, certainly could do that. We don't want to deploy bombers into that. So we have Sexton at 5. ASW Patrol. We want to pin this down for sure. But we have 12. Maximizing it out. Let's pin it. Actually, we probably should have played ASW first, maybe? Yeah. That's okay, though. Because we might have pinned and destroyed the same unit at the same time. Which wouldn't have been the best thing in the world. Yep. So what are we looking for now? We want to rip a monsoon rot or find a way to draw cards to start getting these fighters off the board, because the fighters are going to interrupt our bomber plan. Let's just draw some more. So we could go double supply shortage now, because we don't want to take tons of damage. Playing Production Order right now is still not really going to help us. We don't want to just trade it into these units. We want to take them out other ways. So what we can do, we can take out the artillery. I'm just going to play 1 supply shortage at the moment, because they're going to be 4/3s, and one of them is going to trade into Glamour Boy unless he plays an order. Still left 3 credits open, and it's completely fine. I should have probably moved the Alpine unit up, although we can't really attack into the plane, but we could attack that artillery unit. So at this point, it's just going to draw us a unit. I really don't want to play these bombers into a fighter. Like, we want the bombers to do damage to the HQ, because essentially your late game is a 4-turn clock. Your bombers are dealing 5, 4-turn clock. I don't mind playing supply shortage here. And I'm going to move the Alpine unit up. Still not going to play anything. Some might argue, like, we could play the fighter, right? We could do that if we wanted to, but let's just wait a turn. Wasting 11. But still, I'd rather spend the units when there's more information to be had. And there's a point where you reach a certain threshold that you don't want to fall below. And we're kind of getting to that point now, right? We know these units are gone, but with 5 damage tanks, it's a little uncool. So we're going to take this out or try to take it out. Had he been floating credits, I might play the honey first. I'd rather deal damage straight to the HQ, but it's not going to work. We got to slow this down. Play honey. Since we have 2 production orders, I'm going to go ahead and take a 24D. I'm not going to cast it. Because we're assuming we're playing an opponent. We don't want to give the opponent more information. He doesn't know what we have. Let's just pass the turn. Like ASW Patrol is a fine play here because I'd rather be playing the 7 credits, even though we're trading at below parity. It's better than wiping out a 1/8 guard. Like, what's that going to do? So we're just playing board cleanup. Again, I usually like to attack the face, but artillery units and tanks really mess your stuff up. Take the front line, attack. Next turn, we've got, what, 18? I'm going to play this now. You could choose to wait if you wanted to. That'd certainly be all right. So we can race if we want to. We can have counter up if we want to, which I think is certainly okay. Let's just go Halifax real quick. We hope Halifax hits the headquarters, but that's all right. Now we've maxed out our credits and won the game. We could have spent those credits earlier, but we didn't. So hopefully that gives you some line of plays to think about, not for the deck itself, but in general. Quality credit versus just a generic credit. Spending credits when you have information versus spending credits when you don't have information. Always moving forward to the deck's overall game plan and working out lines of play throughout the game. Have a great night.